My next conversation is going to be with Kaine Agary. Kaine was one of the first people to start talking, quite consistently about intellectual property in Nigeria and the effect of that on the economy and on development. She's also the author of that great book, the award-winning book, Yellow, Yellow. So I haven't seen Kaine since 2011. And so I'm really, really eager to see her now. Before she joins, can you move this thing? Can you move this stuff? What is this? What is this, guys? These women bully me. All right, I can't see. I want to see people. I want to see things. So my next conversation is going to be with Kaine Agary. And that point I was making earlier about if we don't elevate what we do, what we produce, and how we use innovation, how we use people's mind, we resort to selling resources of the earth, and we damage resources of the earth. We can do so much more, which is why it's important if ideas can be monetized.
Now we're connected.
Okay, we're connected. Good. Good. You're calling me from the United States of America, and you.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so badly behaved. So badly behaved. I'm so happy to see you.
Yes.
You have so many things to catch up on. How's the?
I know. He's fine.
Yes. We'll catch up when other people are not watching us.
Yes,
first,
definitely.
And I will admit, even myself, I didn't understand when you came to that. You're one of the, Nigeria always has this wave of resources. You were the wave. You were the early 2000 wave. And you came running.
And I lasted for a while.
With the IP gospel.
Yes.
Yes, you did. You did. And
I did.
Great work. I mean, you were the first to start talking specifically regarding the creative industry about IP. When you started talking about waiting lawyers, they do send. What can lawyers do for you? In that
was experience.
I don't think that was you.
Was the parents' initiative.
My heart hurts. So
it does, doesn't
I don't
it?
want to talk about a parent now because my heart hurts.
It's hard.
Oh, if you're one of the greatest lawyers from our end, we lost him, our brother, our friend. We lost him some years ago. So, usually when there's conversation about intellectual property, one people doesn't even understand what it is. But then even when they do, or they partially do, and please, okay, let me take that back. I'm sounding patronizing. Of course, people understand what it is, but we don't have enough conversation about it. We don't think about it in the areas of like science, of tech, of other forms of innovation. So we're just thinking music, art, and fashion. But speak to us as to, just how pervasive, the importance of the idea of intellectual property, which is really about protecting ideas, isn't it? So that you can monetize it. Talk to us about how, for Nigeria, what did you find? How bad is the situation?
It's okay. So let me start by saying there are three major areas of intellectual property. So you have copyright, which protects your literary works, most of the artistic works that we talk about. Then you have trademarks, which, a lot of businesses use to protect their brands, to protect their name in the market. And then you have patents, which promote innovation. So patents, I provide protection for people who want to research and come up with innovative ways to make our lives better in society. So there's somebody somewhere who is thinking about a problem in society, sits down and spends 10 years coming up with a solution. And so society says, okay, for this time that you've put in, and probably expense too, we will reward you by saying you're the only person who can benefit from this product for the next 20 years. And so you can either decide to benefit by yourself, or you can license that patent to somebody who can exploit it better for you. Either way, you get to call the shots. And so, it's everywhere. It's when you, as a consumer, you decide what trademarks, what brands you're going to support, that's all trademark.
Yeah.
The things that we're using today, you know, it's all patented stuff. There's patented stuff, 5G, all of the things that we're using today as conveniences, those are all intellectual property based things. And to know how important it is, intellectual property makes up about 40% of the US, you know, intellectual property based industries make up about 40% of the US GDP.
Yeah.
And this huge fight with China, this huge trade fight with China is IP based.
Right.
It's all about intellectual property because they feel like, you know, China is stealing intellectual property.
And so America can't make as much money from it. I want to, Kaine, are you there? She's going to come because we have the internet. Who owns the internet between America and China? I want to bring this to a level that's easy for everybody to understand. So I use this example that recently, upon coming back fully to Nigeria, I decided that everything I can make, I must make in Nigeria. And from people in the market making furniture, to people painting, to doing anything, I'll see somebody do some amazing work, and I'll say, bros, put this thing for Instagram now, put this thing for online now, put this thing, and you know, without an exception, and this also included healthcare practitioners, people who know medicine and herbs and things that are great. And I say the same thing to them. And what I usually hear is, but they will copy me now. They copy that I can't make money. So the effect, because I never really fully thought about it myself until there was a particular holistic medicine practitioner who said it comes from a generation, you know, like 5 generations deep of herbalists, you know, who know the ecosystem here. And everything his mother, he said his mother didn't pass on to him because his mother was trying to protect everything. So he himself has broken that chain because he doesn't know it. You know, and I thought to myself, what a monumental waste. You know, and I feel like in a way it underpins our low trust environments where it's like, they see me now, they will copy it. When they copy it, I can't make money from it, so I must not let anybody know this. Am I pulling this out of my
No, definitely not. It's a problem that under Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, there's an agency called the Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency. And that's one of the challenges they've faced, is people holding on to their traditional knowledge and not wanting to, because before you put some of these things out in public, especially for traditional medicine, you have to test it. And so people hoarding this information, and they've been trying to work with the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, to try and get protections. But the way places like India and China have done it is that they've used trademark. So you go into a Whole Food store and you're buying turmeric, and you know what the health benefits of turmeric are. There are all kinds of turmerics around, but sometimes you latch onto one brand, and that's where trademarks can come in, because you trust this brand. The brand has distinguished itself in a market. Once it puts their name on it, that trademark gives you some kind of assurance that, okay, this turmeric or this blend of whatever herbs is more trustworthy than some other blend that I'm going to get somewhere else or from some other, manufacturer. So one way that the Chinese, the Indians, and all these other people who use traditional medicine have done it is by using trademarks, and by also having some kind of protectionist policies. So for instance, I think there was a pharmaceutical company that was trying to register a patent for a drug based on turmeric. And, the Indian government went into action and they were able to strike that application down because they can prove that they've been using turmeric as a medicinal agent for centuries.
Yeah.
So they have all that information and all that data. But it takes, I think, commitment from the government to inform the people who hold these traditional practices and traditional knowledge and protect them. I think our science and technology space is underfunded. It's probably not, its impact is probably not well understood. So the agencies that are supposed to be promoting and advancing science and tech based on local knowledge are not well funded, and they're not.
Yeah. I was just thinking, even as Kaine was talking about, even the cure or the search for the cure and vaccine for COVID-19. Does this include things like the search and the great race, and it's a global race now for the cure or vaccine for COVID-19?
I mean, you have NIMA, National Institute for Medical Research, that's under science and tech. You have, I mean, there's so many agencies under science and technology that we don't hear about them. They're poorly funded. And even when they get money, if you look at their budget lines, it's mostly going to capital projects, buildings, acquiring computers, things that don't really advance the objective of the agency. And that's possibly because, possibly because there's very little understanding about the importance of IP. I mean, in the US Senate, there's a subcommittee on intellectual property as part of the Judiciary Committee. So there's a subcommittee just looking at laws and policies to advance intellectual property, because there's an appreciation for, how big it is and its contribution to the national GDP. And also investors, there's a lot, Sorry?
I mean, 40%, of course, is a huge part of
the
US economy. And I dare say it's similar. It's similar. If you look at a country like Germany, who produce complex goods, and also have the rights to those complex goods. Do you suppose that our challenge with understanding the importance of intellectual property, or just the ownership of ideas, I think when we say it like that, the ownership of ideas goes back to this thing we have where we don't value the human as much as the material. So we don't value people and their ideas as much as something tangible that we can buy, carry, the buildings, the tool. Even the tool, we don't realize that it's an idea that somebody had at some point, and they could, they could monetize, they could produce and monetize. Where is the disconnect?
I think it's a lack of awareness. You'll find even in the judiciary, there's some judges who don't quite, I mean, now it's getting better, but a couple of years ago, there were some judges who didn't appreciate intellectual property. They're like, oh, so somebody used your photograph. Okay, so what? That attitude. So it has to be, it has to be a top-down policy for appreciating innovation, funding innovation, creating an environment that promotes innovation. Because now you do have young kids and people who are coming up with innovative solutions to some of our problems, but they can't scale. And investors are afraid to put their money in because, the environment is just not stable. So today you put your money into something, tomorrow government comes with a policy that just, you know, creates a situation where you can't get your money back. And so that's investment is gone. So it's gonna take more than just, we have innovative people, the people coming up with solutions, but we need you know, protective policies and policies that advance. You know, there are countries who are pumping money into research. That's all. There's, you know, there's enough money in the budget for research because it's important. China is spending so much money on education, on research, on funding or subsidizing enterprises because they have this goal, you know, made in China 2025. We want to dominate the world in IP and tech.
I'm going to because Instagram will cut me off. Of course, if Instagram had been designed by Nigerians, they will not put a time limit because they know we like to talk. But back to that same issue. So I will go off and then I will come back. But by the time I come back, I wanted to ask you something that would also, I think people can connect with easily when I say, will Aki and Popo ever be able to make money from all those memes? Isn't that funny? Will Aki and Popo make the money? Aki and Popo are everywhere. And this was way before even social media. I remember the first time, I think it was in South Africa in 2005 or thereabouts. And I walked into a restaurant and they were all big white boys asking about Aki and Popo just because they knew I was from Nigeria. This future was always going to come. It's here, but will Aki and Popo be able to make money from it?
Let me give you this example. I don't know, a lot of people watched the versus between Beanie Man and Bounty Killer.
Yes.
Do you remember it? Yes. Now you remember when the police came and Beanie was talking to them and he was like, do you want to be that guy? Remember that? The police came, he's like, do you want to be that guy? Now, Beanie jumped on it because the next day everyone was like, oh my God, memes, everything. What did he do? He jumped on it. He made a song. There's a song out, a music video is gonna come out. He came out with merchandise. People were making fun of his stomach. So it's a outline of him with his big stomach and do you want to be that guy?
Yeah.
So he's commercialized it. He jumped on it. And the point I'm trying to make is that copyright owners, intellectual property owners,
Yes, I'm not even sure whether it's my end or Kaine's end, so I don't know if you can see me and can't see her, or if you can see her and can't see me.
Now we're back on. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is IP rights owners have to take ownership. It's like if you have a car and somebody comes and messes with the door, tampers with the door or drives it off, you do something about it. You call the police, you take action. But when it comes to IP, people don't really do anything. So if you feel like your rights are being infringed, get a lawyer. If you feel, I think every creative person should get an IP professional and do an IP audit. Come, take a look at my business, take a look at my image. What IP assets do I have? And how can I capitalize on what I have? Is it my image? Is it trademarked? Do I have a course I'm doing? Do we need to trademark it before somebody jumps on it? How can we leverage on my popularity? Are we making t-shirts? Are we making merchandise? Are we making a paid membership? Whatever. Once you do an IP audit, then you know how to monetize what you have. But you have to take ownership of what you own, and the laws are there. You just have to take advantage of the laws protecting your IP.
What are the laws? What are the laws what are the laws in Nigeria and how far-reaching are the laws outside of Nigeria, depending on where you're at or where you have registered your either your patent, your IP, or whether it's your yeah, one of the three, whichever ones you registered.
So Nigeria is a member of WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organizations, and we are signatory to a lot of international conventions. So that means that we're protected in those countries that are signatory to those conventions. The Nigerian Copyright Act is old. They've been trying to amend it for a while. It's, you know, like I said on another platform, everything that happens in the National Assembly is lobbying. The creative industry hasn't lobbied hard enough to pass that law. It needs to catch up with the digital age, and I don't think it has. But as it is, it's still something you can work with. Our patent law is old as well, trademarks, but not much has changed in those areas. It's just there are other, the EU, America, all of these other jurisdictions have amended their laws to catch up with the digital age. So we still need some catching up to do, but we have the basic, you know, the basic provisions that can protect creators.
I think that, I mean, because it's very easy for me personally, it's important on an individual level. I think it's also important on a collective national level, especially where you have the sort of government we have in power now that seems to be keen on local production. If you do not have regulations that protect what is yours or what you claim to be yours, you cannot stand, you know, against others. And it's not just individuals. The example you gave about India was great. You can't patent something around turmeric when, you know, for centuries we've been using it. You know, Nigeria, earlier we're having conversations about the natural environment. Because of where we are located, we do have a big, huge biodiversity. It means there's a lot here that will be valuable to the world. And it's for people in government as well as everybody else to be able to say that, for example, even your ideas is sort of like having land. You should be able, if you have strong intellectual property laws, whatever has been proven and by law shown to be yours can, like land, be monetized. It's something that you can then take either to people who will invest in you. Because I know, for example, I have friends who are professors in places like Oxford University or Cambridge, especially all the American Ivy League universities. They have a lot of the research that they are doing. They have companies that they are part of who then take the patents from their research and then go to produce things that people use. So a lot of those academics are actually quite wealthy, not on the basis of the salaries they get from the institutions, but on the basis of their ownership or part ownership of companies and entities that have patents or trademarks or intellectual property to something that they created from their research. So I think that it's both ways, isn't it?
Yeah, but the financial institutions also have to, you know, get up to speed, because if you look at other markets, you have the charts have flipped kind of. In the 70s, tangible assets, using tangible assets as collateral was maybe 75% to 15% intangible assets. Today, it's the reverse. So 85% of IP or intangible assets are used to 15% of tangible assets. So, you know, Bank of Industry, you know, some months or years ago, oh, Bank of Industry is giving loans, blah, blah, blah. But you still have to go with the traditional collateral of your grandfather, your family house. We still don't have the ability to, we don't have the professionals that can value intellectual property so that it replaces tangible assets as collateral. Years ago, this is the first time I'd heard of it. I was impressed by the fact that Annie Leibovitz used her intellectual property to get out of debt. She leveraged her intellectual property against some debt she was in. You know, so we have to, if the financial institutions really want to help, then they have to get this other expertise and understand that banking has moved beyond tangible assets, and get the professionals who know how to value IP and know how to structure deals around intellectual property.
Okay, you didn't answer my question. So are you saying in that...
What was your question?
My other question earlier. So are you saying that Aki and Popo should go and get the right lawyer?
I think they need to, you know, you're sitting there, you're Aki and Popo, you're big. Get someone, get either a lawyer or you need a marketing person as well who knows what to do with a brand and can come up with a product that you can sell. I mean, why would I buy some nonsense Aki or pay for some nonsense Aki and Popo thing when I have access to the real Aki and Popo?
Right. Right.
I mean, there's certain things, copyright law everywhere allows for fair dealing. In US, it's called fair use, fair dealing. And parody and pastiche is part of fair dealing. So I can parody something that you've done and it's fair. You know, I don't have to, it's not an infringement.
Right.
Or also the purpose for which I'm using what you've created can also fall under fair use. So it's like you have something in your backyard and you're not using it, and someone sees it and knows how to better use it. You know, they may ask you for. So every creative, every person, every business person, and every creative needs to do an IP audit. What is it? Intangible. What are those intangible assets that I have, and how can I monetize this? And how do I legally protect what it is? So now with COVID, you have people doing all kinds of digital courses, internet courses. All of those things can be protected. The course itself, the materials are copyrightable materials. The course name can be trademarked. People are sending out.
There are even people making machines and tools. Last week, 2 weeks ago on the show, we had Jeremiah, who's inventing all kinds of things. You know, so all of that.
Those are all things that can be protected, but we don't interact with IP laws much in Nigeria. You'd be surprised how many people don't have trademarks, how many people in the creative industries don't have trademarks. I say to people, like in advertising and all these professions where you have to pitch to companies, your pitch deck is copyrightable. So all of these complaints about, oh, I pitched this to them, they didn't use me, but they used your pitch deck. What you submitted to them is a physical expression of your idea. So it is copyrightable. And you know, you don't have to register your copyright for it to take effect, but registration gives you an added layer of protection, and the Copyright Commission has some service where you can register your copyright. And it doesn't I mean, if it's a huge deal, if it's like a 10 million naira deal, 10,000 naira to copyright that document is not that big in comparison. So it's just interacting with the law, getting some kind of professional advisor. Everybody in business needs some legal advisor or legal sounding board to say, you know, this is what I'm doing. How do we move it forward? And, you know, you don't want to cage all your ideas because you have to share these ideas so that they can fly. But you also want to protect yourself. And so how do we do it? What's the best way to do it?
All right, Kaine, I just want you to come back home. Because as you're talking, I'm thinking about some charge and bill types that I know, and I'm thinking, I ain't supposed to yes, putting this kind of man. Forget, man. Come, Joe.
Don't worry.
Right.
The same way you escaped you needed to breathe, take fresh air. Me too. I'm taking my cool breeze. Then I will come back to peace.
It's a new world. I will see you remotely for guests. All right, my sister. Thank you for your time.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
And I will catch up with you.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye now.